Clip Rock here in the Pirate Radio studios today with East Carolina linebacker Jeff Kerr, and really excited to talk to Jeff, one of my favorites from many years ago. And Jeff, it's great that the 1999 team is going to be honored this season at the UTSA game. So I want to get yourself and a lot of your teammates on to relive some of those glory days. But thanks so much for joining us today. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing great, and then we're excited to be able to come back to that game. That'll be fun.
Awesome, and that'll be coming up. ECU's first conference game. It'll be a big game this year as the Pirates will take on the Roadrunners at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. Well, Jeff, kind of reliving those days when you played here at East Carolina, and when you think 1999, and we talked about it with Kevin last week, the first thing that comes to mind, maybe the best live sporting event I've ever been to, the game at Carter Finley Stadium against the Miami Hurricanes. And first of all, as a Washington Commanders fan now, formerly Redskins, I rooted for Clinton Portis and Santana Moss when they were there and going to the playoffs with Washington. Did you realize at the time when you're on the field that you're playing against so many NFL players? Did you know how stacked that team was when you were playing against them in '99?
At that time, I think we were so focused on just playing the game and getting back home, that instance really brought our team together for that season because when you go through adversity, you got two choices. I mean, the first choice is you can give in to all the things that go on around you. Problems are many, solutions are few. Find the solution, or you can actually deal with it, move forward, and do your best, and just kind of take it as it comes.
How did
And
you kind of compartmentalize everything going on? How did Coach Logan and the staff keep you focused on football, but also allow you to think about real life and your living situation, your family, everything going on? That had to be a lot, especially for a college age kid, right?
Yeah, I remember Coach Logan brought me in and he asked me a few questions about what did I think the guys needed right now, and I said, quite frankly, um, they need a hamburger to eat. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like sometimes you just. I know Michael Waltrip put it like this. He's just you can eat filet mignon every day of the week, but sometimes you just need a hamburger. So I think the guys were just kind of looking for something that was part of what their lifestyle was back at home and getting back to, we had a lot of testosterone flowing then because you're in the hotel all week long and guys are used to being at their house. You're having to just be there and be a part of what was happening around you, but you had no control over any of it. And I think losing that freedom is probably the biggest part of what brought us to where we were. And then being able to play that game, taking out some of that frustration on Miami was probably a big part of the win.
Jeff Carr joining us today, and Jeff, that season just two blemishes on the regular season schedule, and then a loss in the bowl game as well. But finishing that year 8-3, kind of culminating your career at East Carolina, and a great career at that. And when I ask you guys, like, what do you remember about games and everything, and your time, most of the answers have to do with memories in the locker room or memories, at a house party with your teammates, things like that. Kind of off the field stuff. Is that what you remember the most as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, Coach Connors, his pregame speeches were always, I mean, they were huge. I mean, that's a big part of how we can come out and you can play outside your body. And that was big, his preparation during the week. And then looking at film, I was always big in film because you can always pick something up that you can take into the games. And I think that's the ultimate study and of another person is you can go in and analyze all the details. And I've always been a detail orientated person. And when you can get in and really grind that out and you can know something that might be a pre-snap read and then Coach Huxtable and Coach Rose, they did a great job of pointing things out and that really helps when you have. I wasn't the greatest athlete in the world, but I tried to be sure that we did it with purpose and we did it with intensity and we played with passion and I think that'll cover up some of the downfalls at the end of the day and then the hard work you put in the weight room throughout the years that you're there is always the biggest proponent that gets you where you need to be.
Well, Jeff, we saw your your physicality and on the field and the effort as well, but the cerebral side you're talking about, it sounds like you were able to read everything and know what was going on. Did you ever get into coaching or think about getting into football coaching after your playing days?
I always said if I left the last game I ever played in, and it's It's actually on tape in my basement, and an old VHS tape. And I said, if I'll never watch that film, but I want to be sure. And it kind of gets me emotional now, but I wanted to be sure that the last game I ever played in was going to be something I would be proud of to show my child one day. And and for me, it was making sure that if I played every play like it was my last, and and that was pretty special. But I always said if my son ever wanted to play, I would coach. But with coaching, it just I just didn't have the love for it like I did for the game when it came to playing.
Well, you did find a great career, and I don't know if you were the first. I guess Big Ed Watkins, part of
Yeah.
NASCAR as well. But since you guys and what you did in your careers, there's been a lot of Pirates going into NASCAR that played football here at East Carolina. Kind of a pretty cool pipeline there. But how did you get into that, Jeff? All those years ago.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he was a pit crew coach, and Big Ed, he was in it already, and he asked me to come in and try it out, and I did and loved it. Just took to it, and being an athlete, it really kind of brings in your talents into another sport. And we always used to kid people, nobody grows up playing pit crew. You grow up playing a sport, but in order to learn that particular game or sport or job, you really had to get experience doing that, and the experience comes at a cost. And I mean, I've been hit a few times, and you have injuries that goes along with that. But at the end of the day, it was a rewarding career. Loved it, and had a great time, and made a lot of great acquaintances, fun people to be around. I mean, that's another family. It was a way to get out of the football playing career, but still be a part of another family. And I think that's one thing, like you talked about, that we all miss. We all miss the camaraderie of being a part of a team and knowing that team is really the benefit of the folks around you all pulling for the same goal and objective. And that's a neat part to be. That's a neat thing to be a part of.
Jeff Kerr joining us. Jeff, catch us up on what you're up to these days. Where are you living, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, so I am father of two kid children, Madison and Grayson, and Grayson's now down in Wilmington right now. UNCW just dropped him off last weekend, and
Wow.
currently my wife works as Misty Carr. She played basketball there, and Misty Horn at the time, and we are married, living in Troutman, North Carolina, big metropolis, and I'm a financial planner here, and I've got a nice office here as soon as you come into Troutman, and old house that was built that we renovated and brought up to par to be able to have an office. And it's been great for me. I've been doing this for the last 8 years, and since I got out of racing, and love what we do, being able to help people.
That's awesome. Jeff Carr joining us. And Jeff, before we got going recording, you said that this will be the first time your son will be able to kind of see your football legacy, I guess, when you come here to Greenville when the '99 team is honored for that UTSA game. So that's got to be awesome to be able to bring your family back and see hopefully a packed Dowdy Ficklen Stadium.
Yeah, yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to come back, be a part of it again. We don't get the opportunity being 4 to 4.5 hours away as much as I'd like to get down there. And when you pour all of your livelihood into football, it's when you walk away, you don't leave anything on the table, and that's where I was with racing. I hadn't been back to a race since I left, and then same thing with football. I think
Yeah.
we've been back for one game we came down for, and but that's it. We got to get back down for some more, and we talk about it every year, and being a part of the Pirate family is where we want to be and always want to be. So that'll be fun. We're looking forward to it.
One thing you'll like, Jeff, this defense is going to be for real. It was last year, but it did not show up in the win-loss record. Just 2 wins where the Pirates couldn't get anything going offensively. That has been overhauled with a new offensive coordinator, 2 new quarterbacks, a lot of new receivers. So trying to get the offense to match the defense, but I think you'll see a pretty intense Pirate defense when you come watch them later this year. How much? I know you're not able to get here a lot. How much are you keeping up with the Pirates? Do you still watch the games? Do you still feel connected at all to the team?
I look at the scores. I've watched a few games, and a big part of me is with defense is always you got to hit people, and I think you got to do it in practice every day. And I know that's nothing that's fun in today's world with going out there and banging and hitting on people on a daily basis. But that's a part of the game that you got to kind of you got to relish that, and you got to feel like you got to love hitting people to be a defensive guy, and as an offensive guy, you got to love not being hit. So it's a matter of the desire to get in there and just wreak havoc, and hopefully they have that same intensity, and we can bring that to the field in another year. I mean, that's always what you win games, when you play with intensity. So play with intensity, you win. It's pretty simple.
Jeff, so many changes in college football, and I'm a bit hypocritical. I usually spend all the off season complaining about it and saying I hate realignment. I hate what they've done to rivalries. I hate what they've done to some of these great traditions. But now that we're about to kick off another season, I'm as excited as I've ever been for college football, because this realignment has created some tremendous matchups in the new Big Ten and the new SEC, things like that. And now for the East Carolinas of the world, there will be a quote unquote Group of Five team in the playoffs. The highest ranked Group of Five champion goes to the 12-team college football playoffs. So East Carolina will have a shot. Kevin Monroe talked about a team, Jeff, that lost 2-3 games maybe, and didn't go to a bowl game in the 90s.
Yeah.
So things have changed a lot, for good, for bad, for better or worse. But the good news is East Carolina will have a chance to play in the college football playoff this year, and that's access that really hasn't been given to East Carolina and the East Carolinas of the world in the past.
Yeah, and that's very exciting, and I think it's a great opportunity. It's just the next game is the most important one of the season, and that's a kind of a coach's motto, and Coach Logan kind of ingrained that into us. You play each game like it's your last, and you play every part of the game, and just understand that there's no game more important than the next one that you're playing. And as a player, you kind of looked at that like, come on, coach, we're looking at the whole season. But then as we grow older, we look back on that. We're like, there's a lot of wisdom there, and then seeing that come and be able to play out in the season as it comes along was valuable. And I think that's the way they got to approach the season, is just play the next game and just dominate the next game that you're playing. And don't look at the score, just look at every play and be 1% better than the team that you're playing. That's all you got to do.
Jeff Kerr joining us. Jeff, Steve Logan's looked at as a quarterback guru, an offensive genius. How much interaction and how much talking did he do to you guys on the defensive side of the ball? Well, he was the head coach, the overseer of everything, obviously, but what was his interaction with yourself and the defense like day to day?
He was big on kind of letting us do our thing and bring the leadership. He coached more with leadership and getting us to be leaders. And that was one thing I appreciated then, and I still appreciate now, because I got a call the other day from someone that said, "Hey, do you know this guy?" And it was Coach Logan doing a seminar down, I don't even know where it was. But I said, "Yeah." I said, "Please tell him I said hello." But he's doing a leadership seminar still to this day. And that's a lot of value there, and bringing that to the team helped us to be leaders on the field, and bringing that intensity, knowing that we got eyes on us at all time from the underclassmen as the upperclassmen. It made us play better, because you can't take a playoff. If you do, you got people behind you that can come in and take your job. So it forced us to really be accountable, and he did a great job of kind of bringing that to us. And then Coach Connors brought the intensity in the locker room of getting us ready to play, and then preparing us from the summertime 300s that we ran, and the mottos on the T-shirts that we had. And we're doing the stadium stairs, carrying offensive linemen on our backs from the single A at the bottom all the way up to triple H or M or whatever it is at the top. And when you're looking at those letters, when you're looking down, carrying a 300-pound guy on your back, it's like, you know what, this is real. And a lot of guys got to the top of that stadium and threw up over the top of it. And it's like, that's the readiness that you got to have to play on a day-to-day basis.
Jeff Kerr joining us. Jeff, one of my random memories from ECU football in the 90s, when I think about your era and a little bit before, I think about those Crim Stoppers videos. And I want to say you were involved in at least one of those, right?
Man, that thing pops up every now and then, and I have people send it to me, and they like to get a laugh out of that. But yeah, well, we were a part of that, and that was pretty funny. And then we went down to I think we went down to Orlando and accepted the Disney Spirit Award there on behalf of the team, and doing that. I think that was back when I had long hair, but anyway, it's like you look back on those days and you realize that like that was another era, that was another time period, and we had fun. We did it, and we did it with intensity, and all we can do is look back and say, you know what, that's who we were. That's what we did, and this is who we are now. We're still the
Yeah.
same people, but the intensity that we brought to the game is what we want to see every Saturday that we come to a game or see a game on TV.
Yes, sir. Jeff Kerr joining us, a different chapter in the life of Jeff Kerr and his teammates there. Those were some really funny. I think Macho Man, I believe the video I recall from Crime Stoppers. Jeff, how about from your time in NASCAR? You talk a lot about intensity and you've got split seconds that can win or lose you a race. So as a Jackman, you talked about bringing the kind of a football mentality into it with the team aspect of it and everything. But a lot of similarities, I guess, right? Going from football to NASCAR.
Yeah, it really was, that was the fun part about it. And but the biggest thing you had to realize in NASCAR, like in football, you celebrate the many wins inside the big tackles, the sacks, the interceptions. You celebrate those mid game. But in a race, you can't celebrate a great pit stop because if you do, the very next one that comes along, you might lose a micron of focus, and then the next thing you know, you're riding on a hood across the top of a car, and
Man.
you're getting hit. So you got to maintain focus when you're really down and out because you have to wake up at 4 in the morning and go to a racetrack. You do the race at 2 in the afternoon, and then that's when you got to be at your tip top focus and shape, and then you got to sit there and stay focused for a 3.5 to 4 hour race when there's tons of distractions going on all around you. And the biggest thing I think I learned from racing was no matter what comes at you, you still have to be ready for every single detail. And no matter how tired you are, you still have to be there in tip top shape and ready to perform. And when you're tired, you're down and out, your family's still counting on you to bring home a paycheck. And those things are real. I've been hired and fired in the same race before. It's just that's a whole nother level of accountability when you're working with your teammates, and everybody's got to work in their own level and pull in the same direction. So it was great. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and kind of taking those levels and brought it into financial planning in a way that's I still have the same intensity, but just doing it from a business owner perspective. And now you've got to really look at life the same way, but with a different lens.
Jeff Kerr joining us. That's awesome. And Jeff, you still got a lot of fans around these parts. We've been promoting you coming on the show today earlier in the week, and a lot of folks will flood back to the 90s and the memories come back to them and everything. So you still got a big fan base around here. It's going to be awesome to have you and that 1999 team honored this year at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium during the UTSA game. And talking to Kevin Monroe, he still says he keeps in touch with some of the guys, but it's going to be great to get a lot of you guys back together and celebrate a great time in Pirate football and a great time in a lot of your lives.
Yeah, I can't wait. Just seeing the teammates again, I mean, that'll be exciting. And then bringing the family down and letting them kind of see a part of who we were, what we did, that'll be exciting. And I think the culmination will just be being a part of the game one more time, but being there from the sidelines or the stands or whatever that looks like. I mean, we just want to support the team and hopefully get a win out of that, and then to see the intensity that the guys can bring to the table, and we can help add to that in any way, man. We're there, and
Well, maybe
the
Jeff
passion,
Carr
I
can give
think.
one of those famous Jeff Connor speeches to the team before the game, get them fired up. Jeff, man, great catching up with you, talking to you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you when you get down here to Greenville later on this fall.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait to catch up.